Welcome to O's Corner with your host, ONYI.
Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to episode 7 of O's Corner. I am your host, ONYI, and it is my joy, it is my pleasure, and I have so much gratitude for the privilege of being here with all of you today. Thank you so much for joining me. Let us begin with our grounding, our centering, our just really sitting in a place of, again, gratitude, of acknowledgement, of appreciation, of recognition, recognizing all of the beings that support us, that exist with us, that co-create with us, that really are with us all the time. First and foremost, I greet your higher selves. I greet my higher self. And I stand in, I sit in, I walk in, I move in appreciation for the choice that my higher self made to be here, to take on the experiences and the lessons and everything that it chose to take on. And I honor whatever that is for you. And may we learn from each other. May we teach each other. Thanking and welcoming our ancestors, our individual ancestors, our collective ancestors, the ancestors of the lands that we are on, the ancestors going back as far as we can even imagine, back to the beginning of time. Honoring the ancestors, thank you for the lives you lived, the choices you made, everything you did for yourself and to pave a way for us. May the choices we make heal you. May we act from our power, our knowledge of who we are, and carve a path of that same energy for our future generations. Acknowledging the directions, acknowledging the elements and elementals, acknowledging the beings in the plant, mineral, and animal kingdoms, acknowledging everything on earth, everything outside of earth. So grateful to be a part of this co-creation, this co-reflection, this coexistence. May we see our reflection in everything. May we know more of who we are through everything that we encounter, all of the circumstances, through all of the relationships that we have. May we continue to chip away at what is not us, so that what is left is who we truly are. I thank you. I thank you. I thank you. Ashe. So today being the third Friday of the month, our focus is on community, whether it be a community spotlight or a discussion about what community is, how we show up in community, how we create community, and any resources that are out there for us to build community. And I definitely am looking forward to having my first guest next month. And until then, I wanted to just really have or continue the conversation about what community is and how we create and build community and how we utilize community to heal, how we show up in communities, what we offer communities, looking at our roles as individuals. And it's interesting to consider the irony or the paradox, really. And I've been sitting in, again, as I've mentioned before, the recognition of just how much of a paradox that life is. It's not really a matter of this or that. It's more so this and that. And really, it's this is that. Because at the end of the day, it all converges to one. It's like the rainbow. You know, you start with that white light, you refract it, and you get the wide spectrum of the rainbow, not just the colors that we see. You know, we see the specific colors that we see, but in between those colors, there are so many other colors that many of us don't recognize. There likely are people who do see all the individual, or a lot of them, maybe more so than other people, but we are definitely not even seeing the wide spectrum of hues, the beautiful colors that the full rainbow contains. But again, we refract that one white light to get the multiplicity of the rainbow. And the multiplicity of the rainbow comes back to that one single point of that white light. And that is the paradox of life, the all that is, the universe, the multiverse, God, whatever you want to call it, call them. It is the one experiencing itself as the many. And the many, even within their diversity, always coming back to this place that we are one. And such is the paradox of life. It is so fascinating. And for me, looking at specifically the paradox or the seeming paradox, maybe it's not a paradox to some of you, but really considering the notion that in order to really be an effective member of a community, to really show up for your community, whatever that community may be, whether it's specifically your family, that smaller community, whether you extend it out to not just maybe your nuclear family, but your extended relatives, maybe further out to your village, your neighborhood, your city, your state, whatever that may be, and going as far out as to, the community of humanity, and then going further out to the community of Earth, all beings on Earth, because we are all a community, and we can just keep going out and out and out. Again, at the end of the day, that broad community of the all that is converging into one. But really the idea that to contribute the most or the most efficiently or most effectively to your community is, as an individual, to really be who you are. To be who you are. To play your part. To know what is you, what isn't you. To not engage in the behavior of attempting to do something that someone else is doing from a place of anxiety, from a place of not trusting in your own ability, not knowing the truth of the reality, not knowing the truth of your own worth and value as who you are, with your own specific gifts, with your own specific perspective, with your own specific energy that you bring to this life. If you are not grounded and rooted in the recognition of the value that you, as you are, which is a unique aspect of the all that is, there is no one like you. Some may come close to being similar or seemingly similar in some way, shape, or form. You might have a twin. You might be a triplet or any other type of multiple birth experience. You might be a member of that specific community. You might be identical. You might be so identical that people cannot tell you apart, maybe even your parents, even though I know that's interesting because oftentimes our parents, they'll know. They just know intuitively who's who. But let's say you were that identical to where your parents were like, dang, I don't even know which one you are. Even still, you are unique. There are some things, many things that set you apart from all individuals. And as such, you have a very unique part to play. And when you don't play that part, you're depriving all the different communities that you are a part of. You're depriving them of that piece of the puzzle that completes that community. You are depriving the larger community of the all that is from completing the puzzle. Without you, the puzzle is incomplete. It is incomplete. Your specific part to play is a gift to all of the individuals that you will encounter, no matter how many individuals that is. And that's not something that we need to concern ourselves with. We can get so caught up in the idea of who we're going to affect, what impact we have, or in this world of social media, how many followers or likes or whatever metrics that we can come up with to show that we are being seen by many people, to again further this idea of our value, our validity. But we have no idea. We have no idea, even if it's just literally one person that meets us in life, which, I mean, I don't know. I can't say that would never happen, but whatever. Even if there's just one person that will meet us, you don't know who that one person is connected to and how the impact you have on that one person will extend into how they then impact everyone they meet. You don't know. But you showing up as you are, reflecting what there is for you to reflect as your own specific energy, it reflects something to them that sparks something within them to then be themselves, to do something that maybe they were not confident enough to do. Maybe they had been living a life of really attaching to their anxiety. And in meeting you and seeing the reflection that you provided in being who you are, it helped them to step into being who they are. And then they had a platform that reached maybe hundreds and thousands and millions of other people. And had you not shown up in their life, then they may not have had the same impact that they're having. You don't know. You know, when we get so caught up in the impact we're having to where it takes us away from just doing what there is to do, which is be ourselves, we cut off the flow of energy. When we are not showing up as ourselves in the communities that we're a part of, we cut off the flow of energy. We are a branch. We are a twig. We are a leaf. We are an extension of the different communities, all of the communities. And when we don't show up as ourselves, it is incomplete. It is incomplete. And depending on the size of your community, you know, you might be thinking, well, if I don't show up as who I am, I'm part of a large community, or even as part of humanity, like it doesn't matter if I don't show up. I can just do whatever and peace out and bow out. And there's billions of people on earth, and it doesn't matter. Who said? Who said it didn't matter? The all that is thinks it matters. It mattered enough for you to be here. If you didn't matter, you wouldn't be here. That's the thing that it's so interesting that we as human beings, we like to debate our value, our worthiness, our right to be here, the impact that we have. Whether we have something valuable to contribute, to say, if we didn't, we wouldn't be here. Existence doesn't make mistakes. Existence doesn't do anything that's redundant or not necessary. So if that is the case, then your existence is absolutely necessary. So then to act as if it is not necessary to not show up as who you are is to basically say to existence, you're wrong. You made a mistake. And you are cutting off the flow of energy, the life force energy that is expressing itself through you or wanting to express itself through you. You are cutting that off. And by all means, existence will go on, life will go on. But it would be more complete and sweeter if you played your part. That community, that circle would be complete if you played your part and showed up as who you are. How do you show up in your communities? Not just in just being who you are, but how do you show up? How do you extend yourself? Do you reach out to people within whatever community that is in the ways that you can? And it's not about forcing something. You know, don't force something in a way that is not coming from a place of excitement. You know, there's only so much you can do from, you know, your place of joy. Don't overextend yourself again from a place of anxiety. See, that's the thing too. You can overextend yourself because you think, oh my God, I have to show up in this way and I have to do all this stuff. And then you tire yourself out because you have this idea that in order to, again, be seen as valuable, to be seen as worthy, then you have to extend in this way. That's still that same energy of anxiety. We do so much from anxiety. We either show up or don't show up from anxiety. And so our work is to really heal that part of us that attaches to the anxiety. In what ways do you not show up in your community because of anxiety? In what ways do you overextend yourself in the community because of anxiety? So now also consider, the communities that you're a part of, whether through birth, genetics, through nationality, all the different things that we create to where someone is born into a natural community, or your chosen community, the communities that you have created or that you have found based on perhaps things that you enjoy, things that you do, the profession you have, and so forth. Perhaps some of us are making decisions to no longer be part of communities or to no longer contribute in a certain way or to over-contribute because of some trauma that has occurred within that community or by a specific member within that community. And so our relationship with the community is affected because of our experience at the time. And the work, there's a few different layers of the work. One, the work is to remember that you are not the person that was violated. This version of you was not the person that was violated, that experienced that trauma. So you get to stand and sit and walk in the place of wholeness and newness. And from that place, as the past versions of you come up, as they're triggered in every given situation where something occurs to where it feels like the same thing that happened before, from the place of who you are in this moment, you get to say, okay, in this moment, I know I am empowered. And I'm also going to be a reflection to that past version of me that experienced that thing. And I'm going to speak up or take action as this version of me now in this community that didn't feel like I could speak up before. And that speaking up could look like speaking to leadership about what occurred, or speaking to other members of that community if what occurred deals with the leadership. That could mean leaving that community if you've stayed, even though the trauma or the negation occurred, but you were afraid of leaving because of how it would be perceived. Again, compounding the trauma. It's like that trauma occurred, and then the fear of the trauma of being ostracized or of being alone then keeps you in a situation that maybe is not the best place for you. Perhaps in this present version of you that knows that you're empowered, that knows you can make different choices, perhaps you recognize, okay, this community actually is not serving me. This community actually does not have my best interest at heart. They are not holding space for me. And the prior version of me before didn't see that or didn't feel like I could act. I could leave, but this version of me does. And in situations where it's not about leaving the community, but more so about sharing with others what your experience was, so that you become now a reflection for anyone else who may have also had that same experience, or to teach others about how to avoid that type of experience or how to be more in their power so that they don't even experience that same thing. And if for whatever reason they do, that they know how to walk in a place of empowerment because you have reflected to them what it looks like to do so. So you are transmuting, you are transforming that experience. And perhaps that's the reason why you show up in the community. Again, when we look at things from a different perspective, your impact may be that, okay, that situation occurred, and whatever perspective you want to choose, there are many perspectives that say we attract certain situations into our life. And if that perspective gives you more power, then by all means, take it. The work is to really sit in, choose the perspectives that help us to remember our power. So let's say you choose a perspective, okay, that situation happened. I attracted it. I attracted it into my life and I experienced what I experienced, and it's taken me whatever time it's taken me to get to this place in this moment where I remember my power. I remember who I am. I remember that I am new in this moment. So I'm going to be a guide to that past version of me, and in this present version of me, act in a way that reflects empowerment. And the choices that I make to do that are also assisting other people. So I am helping to heal generations, past, present, and future. You sharing your story about what you experienced in that community can help that community out, can help the leaders of that community recognize, oh, wow, this is a problem in our community. Whether it just only happened to you, that's still a problem that needs to be reconciled and excavated in order to ensure that it doesn't happen again. Or perhaps you speaking out or you doing the work that you do to transform and transmute that helps them to realize, well, you know what? We recognize that this was an issue and we didn't do anything about it. And for whatever reason, your energy was what was the linchpin, the thing that changed everything. We don't know. That's part of showing up in your community. And even if what is most exciting to you and what you do from a place of neutrality is leaving, your leaving could be the catalyst that will help that community shift and change. Again, in what ways are you showing up in your communities? Showing up can look like a lot of different ways. Showing up can mean leaving. Showing up can mean telling someone, hey, what you did was a violation. That's the showing up. Showing up is just being who you are. If you're in situations where the community, maybe it's not a matter of people violating each other in that sort of way, but there's a lack of organization, there's a lack of accountability, there's just so many different things that are not allowing the community to be as effective as it could be. And if your personality is one that includes being organized, being strategic, having integrity, completing the tasks that you say you will complete, then you showing up in that community is you showing up as who you are. And you doing so and being that reflection to the community may in fact transform that community. They will look at you and say, oh my goodness, look at how this person conducts themselves. We need to take some notes from that person. What can we do to really step up and be like that person? And if they don't, and you decide, you know what, this is not in alignment because it is more energy for me to try to navigate this situation with individuals that are not acting in a way that is in alignment with who I know myself to be, then I'm going to leave. If they wanted you to be part of that community and you left, they would now need to question, okay, why did that person leave? What's going on? Again, we don't know. We don't know the impact. And the work is not to be so caught up in the impact. The work is just to be ourselves in the community. Show up in our communities as ourselves. If part of that showing up means questioning what the community is doing, if they're not acting from a place of integrity, in accordance with what they say they are doing, in accordance to their own tenets, you showing up could be speaking out and calling them out on it. How do we show up in our communities as individuals? Healing yourself, doing healing work on yourself helps your community. Because when you are acting from your own place of wholeness, from your place of standing in your power, and not at every given moment reacting anytime someone does something because you haven't healed past versions of you, you're able to show up more effectively in your communities. And also part of the showing up too is saying, hey, community, I'm really going through this thing. I'm having a hard time. That's showing up. because you're being in your vulnerability. You're being transparent. And even the conversations that can be had in your specific community regarding that same thing that you are experiencing could shift the community, could shift other people that are having that same experience. That's showing up as well. So don't imagine that in order to be part of a community, you have to be, quote, perfect. On the one hand, there's no such thing as perfect. On the other hand, who you are unto yourself is perfect, no matter what that looks like. That is perfection. We are all perfect because there is no one like us. So there's nothing to compare us to. So we're perfect in and of ourselves. But doing that healing work is really, really key. Doing that healing work for yourself helps you to then be a more effective member of your community. And you're absolutely effective if you are still on the healing path, if you are still healing through something, because you could absolutely be of assistance to other individuals because you're in process. Oftentimes we can look at someone who's, I've gone through it and I've healed, and we don't see the process, which is fine too. We still learn from that. Many people learn from that and they'll heal from that person's reflection. And oftentimes the reflection that's needed is the person who is in process, still working through it in real time. We don't know. We don't know. But again, doing that work to heal yourself is absolutely crucial to support the community, whatever communities that you're a part of, the intention to heal. It's from that place of wholeness, from that place of recognizing your power, from that place of loving yourself, that you're a reflection again to all of those in your community. Your energy can now be dedicated and focused on doing the work that your specific community came to do in its specific ways to then reflect to the larger community of humanity what it needs to see to know itself. Again, all the communities showing up as they are, doing their specific work, having their specific energetic signature, sends a reverberation and reflection to the larger human community so that we all remember ourselves even more. Isn't that a trip? You go from the micro to the macro, from the macro to the micro. Again, this and that. This is that. Healing yourself as an individual. Healing your body, as I said in the 3rd episode last month, your body is a community. Your body is a community. So how are you taking care of the community that is your body? Your bodies. The community of your bodies, your mental body, your emotional body, your physical body, your energetic body, the spirit encompassing all of it. How do you support your bodies? The community of your bodies. And as you support the community of your bodies, you as an individual person, you walk into spaces where you're now with various communities based on a lot of different things. You can support them more so. Those communities, if they contain individuals, for the most part, that are again, healing themselves, working on themselves, and then you come together as a community and you're healing as a community with your specific attribute that makes you a community. You take that wholeness out further and further to assist humanity in its healing. So again, let's take a deeper look at community. Understand what it means to show up in community, to show up as ourselves as individuals. Individuals coming into community, healing the community, showing up in community, communities showing up for the individuals. That co-creation, that co-reflection, that coexistence. Community upon community upon community, intersecting communities in all the ways, ultimately converging to the one, the all that is. The one, the all that is. Community. Let's show up for each other, community. All of us. We're all in this together. We can use all sorts of attributes, characteristics, distinctions to separate us into different categories. And you know what? That's fine. We seem to have a knack for doing that. So let's do it. And if we're going to do it, let's be strategic about it. Let's do it with the ultimate destination or goal, even though, I also believe that we shouldn't be so destination focused, but with the intention, I should say, with the intention that, okay, within this specific category or community, we're going to harness our power. We're going to remember our power. We're going to be such a strong reflection of this one attribute for the purpose of reflecting to the greater humanity more of itself. Can you imagine if people thought that way instead of let us get together, be separate from you because we think that you're not valuable, you're not worthy, and we're better than you, or you're whatever the case may be. Can you imagine if people, instead of thinking that way, because that's what oftentimes people do, like, we're better than you, let's separate ourselves out from you because we're better than you. It's like, no. If we're going to separate ourselves, we're going to do so we can kind of be stronger together, so we can make all of humanity better. And we know that you are doing that on your side. And those people or those beings are doing that on their side. Everyone's kind of becoming specialists in their areas based on this one specific attribute, this energetic signature, this frequency. So we're all doing that. Yeah, everyone, let's all do that. And let's all come back together and reflect back to each other what we've all learned or what we've all cultivated, what we've all curated, what we've all really made potent, because we all have all the things. But if we break it apart and we each play our part and we each handle a specific thing and we get really good at it, we make it more precise and come back together and teach everyone and show everyone. And everyone gets to learn from all of us. And we all take bits and pieces to put us all back together. Can you imagine if we thought that way? Oh my goodness. I'm getting chills just thinking about it. We are separating ourselves into our specific community so that we can harness that specific energy. We can be a brighter reflection of that energy to come back to the collective, the community of humanity, and teach everyone what we have fostered, because everyone has that. So it's because of our teaching in a very specific, in a very potent way, that it strikes up the memory of every person that says, oh, wow, yeah, I have that. Okay, now I can really connect to that more and more because I see you, that community that has that thing, and you've really mastered that thing. I see you and your reflection is so strong. It's just reminding me more of who I am. Can you imagine that? One day. I can imagine it. So I know that version of Earth or another planet exists. So it exists. I just got to do my work to be a reflection of that. It's all about us doing our work. And the work is to just be who we are. And as we are who we are, we show up for our communities. And as each community is what it is, it shows up for the larger community of humanity. And as humanity is more of what it is, humanity shows up for the larger community that is beings and creatures that exist on Earth. The other creatures are doing it. The other creatures are what they are. They're like, we good. We good. Tigers are like, we just being tiger. That's what we do. That's how we be. That's how we walk. The different birds are like, we doing our thing. Y'all humans tripping. Y'all humans get it together. Use us as a reflection. See, how about that? Use us as a reflection. Look at us. We embody the energy of what we are in all the ways. Look at us. Learn from us. We could learn so much from all the creatures. And not just the creatures that move. All the beings. inanimate objects, what we think are inanimate. Just because we can't see how they move doesn't mean that they don't move. Just because we can't hear them or communicate with them, many of us, there are many people who can communicate with them. But the trees, the other plants, other vegetation, stones, rocks, they all speak. They all shift and change. They all grow. Everything grows and shifts. Everything does. If we look to them, to their reflections, to see how they're being what they be, we certainly learn a whole lot. So humanity, we got to play our part. We got to remember who we are. And as we as individuals, and then out into our communities, expanding and expanding and expanding into the whole, as we be more of who we are, we show up for this existence. We show up as existence. We show up as the specific piece of the all that is that we came here to be, and we complete the puzzle. We complete the puzzle. The one to many, the many to one, many pieces making up the one puzzle. It is such a pleasure to be in community with all of you. I thank you so much. I thank you. And I thank you to the messages that came through. I thank you to our ancestors. I thank you to all of our guides, all of the community of beings that support us, that surround us, that have their own existence, but that, take time and space and the things to support us in all the ways that they do. I thank you. Thank you to the directions. Thank you to the elements and elementals. Thank you to the beings in the plant, mineral, and animal kingdoms for the communities that you are. Thank you to everything on earth, the communities of all the different beings and things on earth, all the communities outside of earth, this community of existence. I'm so grateful to be part of this community. And may I play my part. May I play my part for all the different communities that I'm part of. And may you play your part. And as we all come together in our parts, what a beautiful part that is. A beautiful part that is. Ashe. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I am ONYI, and you've been listening to O's Corner. Until next time.
You've been listening to O's Corner with your host, ONYI. Want to know more about ONYI? Log on to onyi.love. That's ONYI.love. Thanks for listening.